طيب، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Inshallah, we'll continue for this class and last section about the sampling. How can we use the sampling? And when anyone he want to using a sampling, he using a sampling from the personal or a participant who are sharing with your topic and your research. And when you want to use the sampling, first of all, you want to ask yourself, who are your participants? This answer, you get it from your title. Second thing, you must know how the number of the participant. The number is very important things when you want to get the sampling. Third thinking, the demographic data for the participant, because that's important things for the researcher to know the demographic data about the participant. And other things you must know about the how can be selecting the data and selecting the sampling from the research. I giving you the this is brother and sister, this table from Sandy Morgan and Criswell and Morgan. This for the sampling, when you use the size sampling, if you use this is for using, if you want to use 100, you must use the sampling and number of sampling. For example, I give you the example. For example, if you want to use 100 use 80 person, and like it, for example, 270 use 150 95. For example, 300 like it. This is when you use the random sampling, must be known the number of size. For example, you want to know the population of your study and how many you want to use from the population from the study. This is just I giving you example to using the sampling of the study. Continue about the sampling. Okay, we have a lot of sampling from the researcher, but I get it the important sampling you are using from the study. Who can be read? Dima Omar.
Okay, sampling, simple random sampling, stratified sampling, consensus sampling, and...
Okay, this is a three type of sampling, and we want to take one by one. Dima, continue.
Okay. Also called independent random sampling, the most basic approach to drawing a random sample of cases, observations, or individuals from a population in which the cases are selected individually using fair process.
Okay, the random sampling we want to use when you have a lot of population. For example, we have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and you cannot taking all these people. You want to use, you are selecting the random sampling to get information from the individual or the people you are selecting from the research. Second, Sister Haneen.
Yes, stratified sampling. This refers to selecting a sample from a population composed of various subgroups straight in such a way that each subgroup is represented. For example, in a study of college or university student, a researcher might wish to examine social sciences, physical sciences, and humanities students.
We talked before when you want to use from the Al-Isra University, from the student in Al-Isra University, and you want to use the research from the English language student, you get it just a student from the English department from the Al Isra University. This is meaning about this sampling. Okay. Second, sister منى جمال. منى. منى. Mustafa.
Yes.
Try.
This is converted by change by really availability. And example of convenience sampling is interviewing this first 20 students entering the classroom. Data operated from comparison sampling and generalize of the large population.
Okay.
Large population.
This large population. Okay. This sampling we are using when you want to have limit participant. For example, I want to use the study for the minister or the general manager from people in Gaza. For example, the minister all in Gaza 20. Cannot be put random sample or other sample. I want to use this sampling to get whole minister or whole general manager on the school. For example, dean of the college. I want to use study from the dean of college. Cannot be put random or other one. You want to put just this sampling for the study from the people. Okay. Muna Jamal, where are you?
Yes.
Yes, can you try?
Yes.
Okay.
Control groups. The control groups is the group is an experiment that does not receive the variable you are testing. An experimental group is the group that receives the variable being tested in an experiment.
Okay. This is a groups we are using when you use, for example, a program. These are using for educational and for the secondary or primary school. For example, I want to put the new program for the student to enhance him skills from, for example, for chemical or for Arabic or other things. We have two groups. One is control group and experimental group to get information. For example, firstly, I put the control group. After that, we are to put the experimental group for the student. Okay. Who can be read? Mustafa. Coming. Okay, Sister Amal.
Yes. Describe at the appropriate level of specificity. Precision is essential in scholarly writing. When you refer to a person or persons, choose words that are accurate, clear, and free from bias or prejudicial connections. Bias, like accurate or unclear language, can be a form of imprecision. For example, using man to refer to all human beings is not as accurate or inclusive as using the terms individuals, people, or persons.
I think it's clear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sister Haneen.
Focus on relevant characteristic. Be mindful to describe only relevant characteristic, although it is possible to describe a person's age, disability, gender, participation in research, recall and ethnic identifying, socio-economic states or other characteristic Without bases is not always necessary to include all of this information in your report.
I think it's clear. When you want to use the focusing relative characteristic for the people, must be know the focusing for the your study and your status for the social, economic, or development, or political, or other things you want to use from the your study. Okay. Who can be read? Ahmed.
Acknowledge relevant differences that do exist. Evaluate the meaning of the word differences carefully in relation to the target population, not the dominating group. For example, a researcher who wants to generalize the study results to people overall or students overall and so forth should assess and report whether the sample studied is different from the target population, and if so, describe how it is different.
Okay. This is, I think, same clear, because when you use a different population and a different sampling, you must know is a different way when you use the researcher from other study or other focusing group. And I think it's very important things when you want to use the methodology and use the sampling must be known. The population is important things to get away to the study result from the people to get a good result from the research and from the target population is a know is important things to get a result. A good result must be know the focusing about the sampling and population target from your study. Dima.
Yes. Be
Yes.
probability specific. Once you have determined which characteristic to describe, choose terms that are probability specific, which will depend on the research question and the present state of knowledge in the field. Don't mention characteristic unnecessarily. However, when in doubt, be more specific rather than less, because it is easier to aggregate than to disaggregate them.
Okay. When you choose the sampling and you want to use the population and sampling, must be know the question, research question, because you want to answer a sum of research question. You have a research question and the research objective. You are using the sampling to answer about your research question and your research objective. This is important things first. Second, a necessary thinking to be a characteristic for the groups you want to use the groups. This is example for the topic you want to use from the characteristic for the population. Brother, sister Muna. Muna Jamal. Mustafa. Dima.
Yes. Example of specificity by topic. More writing about age, exact ages or age range. Example 15 to 18 years old, 65 to 18 years old are more specific than broad categorized. Example under 18 years old, over 65 years old. We're writing about disability names of conditions. Example Alzheimer's disease are more specific.
Right.
Okay. Alzheimer's disease are more specific than categories of conditions. Example types of dementia, okay, or general references such as people with disabilities. Dementia is a general term for loss of memory, language, problem solving, and other thinking abilities that are severe enough to interfere with daily life.
Okay, I think it's clear to example how can be right. If you want to use a years, for example, 5 to 18 cannot be used from the 80 or 50. Or example, if you want to use the deaf people or the Alzheimer people or other things, cannot be using a different area or different people to get the result or collect the data from them. I think the example is important to understand about the using the population, and I need Ahmed to continue reading.
Be sensitive to labels. Respect the language people use that describe themselves. That is, call people what they call themselves. You may need to ask your participants which designations they use and or consult self advocacy.
Okay, sorry, where he go? Yes.
Advocacy groups that represent them these communicates to research that issue if you are not working directly with participants.
Okay, I think important things and sensitive thinking. Respect the people. If you want to if you want to go to collect the data, must be respect the language people. Cannot be having one he have a problem when he talking to get like it be when he talking or thing. Must be if you have other languages and you get the data, must be respect the people. This person. The second thinking when you want to use the data must be know about the question from the participant about the cases you are studying and know about the community for the people when you use the research. Who is talking? We don't have sound. Can you help here? Or can you help here, Sister Noor? Okay. Who can be read? Brother and sister, are you here? Ima,
Yes.
try.
Yes. Acknowledge people's humanity.
هنجة ماشي. Try sister.
Acknowledge people's humanity. Choose labels with sensitivity, ensuring that the individuality and the humanity of people are respected. Avoid using adjectives as noun. Label people, for example, the poor, or labels that equate people with their condition. Amnesia. I don't.
I think this knowledge about the humanity when you want to use the information from the people, because when you want to use the information of this is secret information to get it from the people to your research cannot be get it or other people or giving the other people about him life, because it's like people and this is private information he giving you because you are a researcher, cannot be do and get this information and taking from the other things or other side, because you are a researcher must be respect and you know about the informational from the people. And when you get an information from the people cannot be get X or Y, because for example you sit with Hassan, cannot be go to Muhammad and take Hassan, he want unduly or other things. Must be respect, and you know the informational for the people. You get it, the information, and this is you want to reading about the topic and informational about the research about the research, and cannot be when you get the information from the people and the participant from the age or other things. For example, when you want to use the research with the young people or the old people, cannot be must be, you know, is old people must be respect them and slowly and other things, or under 18, or you want to use general manager or minister, must be know the people you are getting information from them, must be respect them and know about them to get the information from them from your collecting the data. This can be read, I thinking about the sampling and languages. We talking before about the languages, how can be evaluate about the value, identify what first the languages, and choose between personal first and identifying the other personal must be read it because important. Negative or consultant type. This is our last slides about the sampling. I think is know the 6 for the people, for the man or woman, how can be collecting about data from man or woman to know the information about them. I think is all about the sampling, and I need to read be carefully about the sampling because important things you want to use, and we want to put on the your proposal, and give me the informational after you are getting the 3 chapter. First chapter introduction, second is literature review, third is the methodology. And thank you for attending for the class. Anyone here have a question? I am here to get your question. If you have any question, just I listen to you. Any question, brother and sister? Any question?
Thank you.
Any
No, it's
question?
No.
Any question? Okay. Thank you for attending. And inshallah, we put the classes on the in the model if you want to get back, and I will put the PowerPoint in the model. Thank you for attending, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.
So